Hi everyone, my name is Sahema. Today we'll be going through Hack Your Way to Victory. So we just came back from East Global Bangkok, where Flynn and I were part of the top 10 teams or top 10 projects. And we'll go through how we plan our hacks, how we start to think about them. And then we'll also demo our product that we built. So just a quick introduction. Yes, my name's Sohey. I'm a front-end developer with 5 years experience. I've been working in Web3 for the last 2, and I've been an East Global finalist twice in this year. Flynn?
Hi everyone, my name is Flynn. I've been a software engineer for around about 15 years and have been building in the Web3 space for the last 5 years. I focus mainly on machine learning and more recently on AI.
Perfect. So when Flynn and I started going to hackathons, I think it was about 2 years ago now. I can't remember. I think it was like ETH Amsterdam, was not ETH Amsterdam, the Amsterdam hackathon. It was a new concept to myself. The easiest way to think about a hackathon is a very, very fast sprint from ideation to pitch, essentially. And what you want to do, like there's a chance to win prizes, cash, or even funding for your product. We really love it because it challenges us. It can be stressful, but we find it really fun. So the first thing that we do before we even start planning which hackathons we're going to, we start to think about like who our team is going to be. The reason is like the time crunch feels very real at a hackathon. Sometimes you're looking at about 26 hours or less, like for a hack. It feels like it's a lot of time, but it isn't. I can promise you can trust me on that one. So making sure that you have a diverse set of skills within your team will give you a stronger result. Delegate before you start hacking. Before Flynn and I start actually thinking about the idea, I start to think about, okay, what am I going to do? What am I going to be able to deliver that I'm good at? And what's Flynn going to do that he's good at? And anyone else that we work on. That means that I make choices for like my vertical. So like whatever I'm decided that I'm in charge of, and he makes choices for that. We always talk to each other, of course. We have to have teamwork, but it just means that I have enough automation. I have enough autonomy in myself to make the decisions. And that's really important because you don't have a lot of time. Second thing is like we start to think idea first. We always we start with the idea and then we add the tech later. Making sure that your idea is strong, unique, all that sort of stuff, like adding tech to a good idea makes it easier to sell. So writing down your idea as a PR headline, identify what makes it a good idea or a bad one. This is a really important step, at least in our planning. You're going to identify more bad ideas than good ones. So eliminating those bad ideas firsthand makes it a bit easier. Your idea should be, if it was on a newspaper, what would it sound like? Well, like what's the bite there? What makes it good and easy to sell? That will help you in your pitch later on. And clarity above all else. A hackathon is here to build an MVP. So prioritize the features that will be showcased in your demo. Any nice to haves or anything like that for the future, don't build them yet. Like think about, okay, what am I going to show at the end? So build fast and iterate faster. You are under a time crunch. So plan your hackathon like a sprint. What should be done by who at what time? Focus on the presentation. So what needs to be in the demo? Focus here before doing any nice to haves. Treat bounties like a menu. What bounties complement each other? You don't have time for every bounty. So which ones make your idea better? I really need to like stress that part because when you start, you'll see, I think East Global was $800,000 in prizes. You see these huge bounties, huge prizes. But if those prizes don't make your idea better, don't do it. You won't get enough time to pitch it to all the judges and all of the brands that you need to go speak to. So make sure that the ideas the bounties complement your hackathon project. It's demo time, so you're going to have to pitch this in front of a lot of people. About 3 to 4 people per desk is like what I've sort of found at other hackathons. A strong narrative makes equals better engagement. It's the thing, like how are they going to remember your idea? Highlight the problem, the solution, and the impact. Make that really clear. Generally, you have about 5 minutes to pitch, so you don't want to fluff around, so to speak. And rehearse. Rehearse, rehearse, rehearse. Your whole team should know the pitch off by heart. So with that, I will be passing over to Flynn, who will go through our demo and our product that we built at ETH Global.
Thank you. I'll share my screen and we can dive into a little bit of what we built and why we think it's interesting. So you should be able to see my screen now. So what you're looking at here is essentially a little virtual office, if you will. You can start to see some characters walking around the office as well. A very sort of familiar sort of scene if you've ever played sort of an old school game on like the Super Nintendo or anything like that. Sort of similar graphics as well. The idea here is to present something familiar to people that will be able to understand that there's sort of characters moving around this sort of game world, if you will. However, these are not just simply characters. Each one of these things that you see on the screen is an AI agent. And that agent is capable of having its of utilizing what we call tools, right? And tools are essentially a way to interact with APIs, right? So in the real world, we think about sort of businesses that run sort of the internet as we know them today. The way that a lot of this stuff works, of course, which is not going to be new for anyone in this call, is of course they use something called an application programming interface to essentially ask different backends, let's call them, to do different things like send money or to check out, add an item to your cart if you're shopping for something. Those sort of simple things, AI agents are able to also do these things, and they're able to do them via what we call a tool, right? So we've sort of taken those sort of common ideas from the Web 2 world and brought them into the Web 3 space. So you can, of course, do things and you can have your agents utilize these tools to do things for you that might be sort of manual tasks that you would normally have to do. So such as, if we bring our thought process over to the Web 3 space, it's like, okay, I want to create a wallet. I want to, create a token on Uniswap. I want to trade that. I want to, set a limit order at a certain price to see, if the price of Bitcoin gets good, maybe your agent then maybe wants to buy it for you, depending on the data they have. You can start to think of an agent as an autonomous unit that can act on your behalf or act upon the data that it's presented with. And that's kind of the idea of what we've built here in industry. And so how this kind of works is on the left-hand side here, you have a chat where you can basically, chat with your agents. And, if you ask something, you're asking it into the room, if you will. And the agents can kind of then determine who that message is intended for, and then they can action upon that. So not every message is intended for every agent, right? Some of them are good at some things and some of them are not good at other things. So we have this section over here where you can essentially edit and see the different characters that we have. We can see that we have David, Russell, and Lucy, and like these guys all have their own unique skills and strengths, right? So David he has access to deploy ERC20 tokens. He has access to create EVM wallets, right? So he can deploy tokens and interact with EVM ecosystems. I go back here to Russell, for example, like he has access to create a Solana wallet. And if I wanted to simply drop and drag a new skill set onto Russell, I can simply like click one off, or I can just drop and drag a new one on. So you can start to imagine, okay, like these skill sets can be quite wide, and you can have many different things, everything from, being able to order a pizza online through like a Domino's API or something like that, right? Russell could have that skill set here if we just drop and dragged it in, as long as we made that tool available to our agent. So you can start to use your imagination and start to think of all the different possibilities of tools that your agent could use to sort of work together cohesively with other agents to perform some sort of, useful end goal, right? A lot of us are using AI right now every day for different things, whether that's writing emails or, refining some code or whatever it is. But the reality is like a lot of that is just sort of simple text-based interactions that you're doing. And where this gets really interesting is these tools that we were talking about, right? Not just things like creating wallets or deploying tokens, but, the world becomes your oyster of what you can actually build at that point. So, these agents are basically just set up here, and you can ask them very simple things like, hey, Russell, create yourself a Solana wallet, right? And in this case, he already he has the ability to access the Solana ecosystem, or at least the tools to create that wallet. And you can see him sort of replying here in a chat bubble, and then you can see that over here, that he's already set that up and everything is looking good. So you can see the wallet address as well that he's created there for himself. I think I was just asking that same one just before as well. But the idea here is that you can essentially chat, and the agents can also chat to themselves, right? In this case, I just asked a question to Russell and he responded. Like he said that the wallet's been all set up and he's got his address. But of course, where this gets really unique is if you start to think of it from like an environment, like a typical office where you might work, where humans talk with each other, not just here's the question and here's the answer. It's very much like you want to have a cohesive, long-running discussion, which is what these agents are capable of as well. You could sort of give them a larger task which they could work together to solve, that might take many hours or even many days, right? So that's the whole idea with industry and this idea around multi-agent orchestration where they sort of work together. Yeah, so Hema, did you have anything you wanted to add to this idea?
Yeah, I think like with industry as well, like if we take the bullet points that we talked about, the idea for us was pretty clear. We wanted to have like multi-agent orchestration. That was our idea. And the problem we wanted to solve is like accessibility, as Flynn clearly just pointed out, the fact that you're able to, as a developer, like I know I'm going to use an API, but maybe someone else isn't a developer, but they want to use those tools. They should be able to just use text to access that, because we can all write, and we can all write in different languages as well. That was something that we wanted to do. So our big problem here was accessibility that we wanted to address. And yeah, this is how we came together, like for the idea of industry AI, to finalize like the final points that I want to bring across about hackathons really is choose wisely, plan thoroughly, and execute smartly. Your next big opportunity is just one idea away, and winning isn't everything. I know that's what we're talking about today, but what's more important is learning. So take the opportunity to learn, to define what winning means to you. If it's going to be about learning a new library and you getting more comfortable with pitching, that sort of stuff, like then that's a win. And yeah, stay based.
We have been refining the idea a little bit, and what we want to do is we want to turn it into more of a game. We want to have it more of like a gamified experience. The use case that we sort of set out originally when we talked about the hackathon was this like all-encompassing, more generic platform where you could kind of ask the agents to do anything, almost like, order a pizza, or how do I bring the world on chain, or all these sort of things that are fun and they showcase the power and possibility of agents, but they don't offer a commercial value that would be appealing to consumers generally. Those things are kind of more fun. But what we actually think would be quite a unique proposition is that the agents could essentially, like I would have a little trading house with 3 agents. They're able to either make their own tokens, deploy those tokens, or they're able to buy other people's tokens. And the idea would be that you would have little trading houses with agents that could just buy and sell tokens whenever they see fit. And then you could compete. You could take your house and your 3 or 4 agents or whatever it is, and you could compete. So Sohey could have her own house with her 3 or 4 agents, and they could also be trading different tokens, and they could also have different metrics on what they think is successful. And then you could have many, many, many different houses all versing each other and have a leaderboard system where now you have little trading houses all competing for sort of a prize every week or so on. Like there's lots of things that there. We think that gamifying the trading experience could be quite unique and fun. Yeah, next year, I think that we're going to see even more AI-based hackathons moving to next year. I mean, I think everyone is going to be, I think we saw around 90% or so of different submissions through ETH Global in Bangkok we had some form of AI built into them. So I think next year we're going to see a similar number. And I think that we're going to start to see a lot more interesting use cases, especially as AI gets better and better. And every year, the exponential curve is just incredible. So yeah. So yeah, no, I think back to what you said around personality and text, though, I think that's an interesting thing, and we've seen a lot of that this year. A lot of the agents and a lot of the AI use cases are textual driven, because of course AI is built upon this concept of text very much so. And so you're seeing a lot of Twitter and a lot of Farcaster and a lot of conversational things. But I think next year we're going to start to see less about text, more about video, more about vision, more about sound. And bringing those things together and moving away just from sort of typical text-based stuff into more creative things using the other senses that we have.